Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com.
And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes.
Hey, what do you say to everybody? Geo Sette from Past the Wire, PastTheWire.com, Past the Wire TV. With you here tonight to give you a horse-by-horse breakdown of the 3 big races that are going to happen this weekend. I figured, why not I treat you? Not just one. I was going to do a column on one, and then I thought about just covering maybe a second, but I'm going to give a full analysis. I'll try to expedite it on all 3 big races. Of course, the Grade 1 Bluegrass from Keeneland. That's race 9 at Keeneland, 5:15 post time Eastern. Then you have the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby. Key time, it's the race 6 at Santa Anita, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. And then, of course, New York, where I'm from, a race I attended many, many times over the years, the Grade 2 Wood Memorial, 750,000 from Aqueduct. Okay? So I'm going to go in that particular order. All right? First, I'm going to discuss the Bluegrass Stakes from Keeneland, race 9, $1 million, an obvious big-time Derby prep. We're now, let's face it, we're in the home stretch. We're going to be 1 month away from the first Saturday in May. All right? So I think most of you, if you follow the sport, you have a good idea who's going to be there. But you know what? There's about maybe 8 entries that aren't certain right now. So if they're gonna have the typical 20-horse field in the Kentucky Derby, this weekend is going to be extremely instrumental in providing an opportunity for many horses that perform well. All right? So without further ado, and let's see if we can get this done inside of a half hour. I think I can. All right? I'll elaborate more on horses that I feel have a genuine shot as a contender to emerge victorious. Okay? All right, so at Keeneland, again, race 9, the Bluegrass Stakes, Grade 1. Number 1 is Tapit Trice. I seen this horse. By the way, 3-year-olds, it's easy to watch every one of the races. I'm a student of studying film and race replay. I think it's imperative to recognize the behavioral patterns and the tenacity a horse owns, especially in young horses or 3-year-olds that have developed from their juvenile campaign. You want to make sure they have that killer instinct. You look for those things in replay. Then, as I speak of often, I work a lot with pedigree. I think the connections are essentially important. And of course, every single detail in the past performances, all right? I cover every line. So you have that advantage by listening to me because you know I've done my homework and I put the time in. All right, so Tapit Trice through the 1 hole. Not really good for this colt. He's got a lot of talent. I wasn't entirely impressed with the Tampa Bay Derby. Again, he started slow. I think Luis Saez willed him to win. Obviously, he was much the best in the race, but the buyer came back in 88. This is after he ran a 92 in the optional claimer beforehand. It's a big gray, son of Tappet, 1,300,000 as a yearling. There's no doubt the horse has talent. But now, from the one hole, if that horse is going to start pedestrian-like again, it may be a little too much to ask this time to emerge victorious. I mean, I trust Saez, but again, I mean, when I project the early pace, the first quarter, it's likely that this horse is probably going to be sitting last or next to last. Definitely a contender. I'm not sold on winning because the horse hasn't shown a dynamically fast race to me. All right? But 3 for 4 lifetime with one show. Todd Pletcher, the horse is going to be ready. He'll probably be in a Kentucky Derby because if he hits the board here, he's going to have enough points. He won the Tampa Bay Derby. But I'm going to give you my selections at the end of each race. I'm just going to run down all the fields. Number 2 is Clear the Air. I like the fact that Santana's taken him out. This horse was actually entered at Aqueduct for the Wood Memorial. But I think the connections are going to scratch him from the Wood and run him into Bluegrass. I'm not a fan of him. Like I said, I think he's got some qualification for the distance, but he's a synthetic horse. And, there's a lot more, many other horses in this race that are more appealing. The 3, Verifying. I will tell you this right now, the horse is my top choice in the race. Many pluses. All right, the son of Justify, 775,000 as a yearling. Brad Cox has this horse, and I trust the barn entirely. Has this horse really fit? When you think about what he did as a juvenile, and now as a 3-year-old, he's got 2 pretty strong races. I mean, he came back after his layoff, and he ran a 97, whipping the field by 5+ at Oaklawn Park. I think he's trained exceptionally well. He has those high-level, fast races I like to see. I really could see him getting quality position with a good break, a rider who is really aggressive and he wants to win. This is a big spot for him. Grade 1 Bluegrass. I trust Tyler Gaffleone. This is a spot where I could see him sitting a very tactical. He doesn't even need the lead. He may have the lead, okay? Because in this Bluegrass, I have my pace projection. What do I have on top? I think Major Blue is going to get out from the 9-hole. Verifying's going to be right there. So is Clear the Air. And then we're going to get into Scooby Quando, who is probably going to be pressing a little early too. But Verifying's almost assured to be on the pace. I like the horse a lot in this race. Classic Car Wash, the 4. Castellano takes the mount. Mark Cassay's been doing a good job with this colt. Actually, he's a gelding. He seems to be very versatile, and he seemed to adapt to a closes type of desire rather than what he did early on when he was showing some speed. So this horse has some versatility, but you know what? You can't take Classic Car Wash over the 1 Tappet Trice because he beat him on a square. And Classic Car Wash had an opportunity before him in a stretch. So I'm not going to use Classic Car Wash. Hayes Strike is the 5. Very nice move in the center of the track in his last $100,000 stakes race. And then he moved over to the rail. That was at Laurel. He's stepping up, facing better. The horse has some nice races in his career. Ken McPeak, I always have a good amount of respect for. James Graham, too, in the saddle. Outside shot of hitting the board in the superfecta. Next horse is 6, Scooby Quando. Now this horse I'm interested in. Son of Uncle Mo, all right? Ben Colebrook is the trainer. He's shown, I like his path to training. Now sure, Turfway Park is synthetic. So that's the big question mark. He's not proven on the dirt. He does have a fabulous work at Keeneland in preparation for this race, going 59-4 with a nice breeze over the soil. No complaints about his 3 races. His buyers come back nice. He is showing he's showing that type of tenacity I like to see in a racehorse. But there's some big question marks. I think he's not overwhelmingly built for the distance. I think of him more of maybe a mile and a 16th horse. But I think the horse got some guts. I'm going to use him in my exotics. The 7 is Sun Thunder. All right, Ken McPeak, $400,000, son of Into Mischief. He ran a real nice race, second to Angel of Empire, who of course won the Arkansas Derby, one of my selections. His numbers are comparable to many in the field. I don't think he's a complete throwout. He'll have to run his best race and improve to win this. But, like I said, he's a bottom exotic type of horse in this field to me. Blazing Sevens is sort of like the wild card. He's the 8. Chad Brown, obviously overwhelmingly always respected, son of Good Magic, and Irad's in the saddle. But this horse has been a absolute cluster confusion. He ran well as a juvenile. Pratt had a couple of nice races on him. They're putting blinkers on him right now. He basically didn't show up his last race at Gulfstream Park. And, Forte ran like a 95 in the Florida Derby. And he's gotten beaten the last few times by Forte. He did emerge victorious in the Grade 1 Champagne over my top choice Verifying. And that was as a 2-year-old in the slop. So I went back and forth with this guy, son of Good Magic. Good Magic had a wonderful 3-year-old campaign, Preakness and a Haskell. The connection's almost as sure you're not going to get value. There's going to be underlay here, so you're not going to get the price you should be getting on the horse. But, I don't know. Watch the board, watch the horse's behavior over the track, all right? The 9 is Major Blue. I see him as a pace factor. He's going to be a long odds for the coach, Dwayne Lucas, who I think is got to be somewhere, he's probably about 88 years old now. Big fan of him over the years, but, it'd be nice if the coach got a horse to start in the Derby this year, but it's asking a lot for this horse. He's on a very methodical improve. His works are slow. He's going to show early presence, but I think he's going to tire in a stretch. The 10, Raise Kane with Rosario up for Ben Colebrook. Here's another horse. Did he was he all out in his last race? If you watch that race at Aqueduct in the Mud, the Gotham, man, the horse had some trouble early. He was way back, and he just inhaled the field. I mean, he drew away by over 7 lengths. So I watched that a few times. He's by Violence. I like his works for the race. I still think Rosario's going to shake his slump. But I couldn't be decisive with saying he's going to win this. Is he a contender? Yeah, he should be. But I don't know if he went all out, and he's not going to have as much left from that last effort. But he may. The 11, the bottom horse, Mendelssohn's Marsh. Remember Mendelssohn and his own 3-year-old campaign a few years ago? This horse is pretty impressive, actually. Ran at Fairgrounds on his debut. Didn't run as a juvenile. His race at Oakland Park in a slop, I watched that a few times. He was in trouble He was in a lot of traffic, patient. And then the horse fired. And now they're going with Brian Hernandez, who, he's a very crafty rider, and he knows Keeneland pretty well. So I kind of like the price and the opportunity that Mendelssohn's March, and only his third start, because he has that, that reinforced willingness. Even if he was in a mix, I think there's more to come from this horse. He's 2 for 2, His first, he was placed first through disqualification, but his last was pretty impressive. He's stepping way up. This is a grade 1. I'm not saying he's going to win, but you got a shot to get him into your super, maybe even your triple. All right, so I'm going to close out my Keeneland. Here's my Geo Sette precise order. 3, verifying. 6, taking a shot here, the big exacta. Scooby Quando. All right? You heard what I said about him. Son of Uncle Mo. Question marks, no doubt. He's got to prove himself on the dirt, but I like his work. And I think the horse is going to transition well and run a big race. I think he's sitting on a big race. The 1, Tapit Trice, for obvious reasons. If he had a better post, he probably would have been my top choice. The horse is built like a cannon, $1.3 million. I could see him running second or even winning, but I'm placing him third for value here. And if he gets a perfect trip and Sayaz can get him home, then he could win because, he's got loads of talent, but he hasn't run that dynamically fast, triple-digit buyer type of race. He actually regressed a little. And I just didn't like the fact he was so far back, even in the Tampa Bay Derby. Then my last 3 are the 10. Raise Cane with Rosario. The 11, who I spoke about, Mendelssohn's March. And believe it or not, did I skip? Yeah. I'm throwing the 8 in there as a saver only because of Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz. The horse was pathetically bad last race. I couldn't find an excuse for him. He's had bad trips. They're throwing blinkers on him. But he's not going to, he's going to be 5 or 6 to 1, where the horse legitimately should be 15 to 1. But it's Irad for Chad Brown. So I'm going to respect the connections and use him in a few bottom gimmicks. I don't think the horse is good enough to win. So 3, 6, 1, 10, 11, 8 in the Keeneland Bluegrass Stakes Grade 1. Race 9, 5:15 Eastern Time.
Tracking trips with Pick 6 King John Stetton. It's one of the best tools in horse racing for any level of player. It's your second set of eyes, spotting troubled trips, betting angles, track trends, horses to watch and favorites to fade, 10 figs, ticket structure, and more. At Tracking Trips, you're a friend with benefits. Not a member? You must hate winning money. Join Tracking Trips now. Visit pastthewire.com and we'll see you in the winner's circle. Remember, nobody does it better.
Okay, Geo Sette, back at you. Santa Anita, race 6, the grade 1 Santa Anita Derby. 750,000, major prep race for the Kentucky Derby. The winner of this race will be in the Kentucky Derby, and it's a pretty good field. So I'm going to run it down for you. You just listened to my Bluegrass. I'm going to give you my Santa Anita. I'll finish up with my precise order of finish, and then we're going to move on to the Wood Memorial, okay, in New York. So Santa Anita, this is a race 6, 5:30 post time, all right? Number 1 is Don't Get It, all right? Mario Gutierrez for Doug O'Neill. Liked what I saw in his last effort, graduating, just breaking his maiden. He's stepping way up, sort of ambitiously placed into this race. He's got a pretty good work at Santa Anita, handling from the gate in a minute two. I think the horse will improve, and he's got 3 nice races, but I don't think he's good enough to win and beat this field. Number 2, Dazzle Me Silver. All right, Keith DeSormo. This is the DeSormo combo of the connections. Ken DeSormo for Keith DeSormo. Another maiden. He actually still is a maiden. Comes into the race improving greatly with his buyer. They stretched him out from a sprint to a mile and a 16th. He is by Taprit. Nice looking gray too. Not overly developed, but nice looking gray. Again, young, did not run as a juvenile. I think he has a lot to show. The horse is going to be big time odds. It'll probably be, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 to 1. I'm not going to use him because it's too much to ask. The 3, a lot of folks are going to be on this horse, all right? Go Rocket Ride. Now, obviously, if you watch the San Felipe Grade 2 at Santa Anita, it was this colt and the horse that's probably going to be favored in the race, Practical Move. So the horse is going to be well bet. Very impressed with his 2 races. Flavian Pratt's right back on him. 96 by last is one of the best in the race, if not the best in the race, second to Practical Move. Training well. Again, experience is a question here. It's his 3rd race. Is he built for the distance? Yeah, I think he has it in his bloodlines. But, when a horse stretches out as well as he did, I could see him moving forward, but at the price he's going to be, I want better value if he's going to beat the horse that already beat him on a square. We're going to get back to that. The 4 is 1 in a Vermilion. Wow, 50 to 1 morning line. Basically should be. He's got inferior buyers. He's won 3 times versus cheaper, not entirely fast races. Again, they're taking this horse sort of ambitiously placed into the Santa Anita Derby. Sometimes you got to be aware or concerned about a horse that has a nose for the wire. He's won 3 out of his 5 lifetime races, but I don't know. He's cheaper, and I got to see more of a swift performance on a racetrack, and his buyers are just inferior to most in this field. The 5 is Practical Move. If you follow the sport, you're probably aware that this horse has been highly regarded. He's probably going to be the favorite in this race. I'd be shocked if he isn't. Tim Yaktin's got him in good shape. He won his last 2. His last over the Santa Anita soil. He is 2 for 2 over the track. Excuse me. Entirely on the West Coast, so he's home and comfortable. Am I overly impressed with him? Nah. I don't think he's the best 3-year-old in training. His last 2 were mighty impressive, and he's been on the board all 6 of his tries, 6 starts. He's got 6 paychecks, winning 3. Training well, but he's not my top choice. I'm going to give you my top choice right now. I like National Treasure. Many reasons. I trust Johnny V. Horse ran really nice, consistent, grade 1s as a juvenile. He's got a couple of nice races over the track. His first start as a 3-year-old in the grade 3 Sham, he took all the money at the window. Small field. It was a mile. He didn't win, but I just think that was a seasoning race for this horse. First race is a 3-year-old, and then let me see how he's training. And he's built for the distance, by the way. This horse was a $500,000 yearling, son of Quality Road. just love his deep workouts. Going 6 furlongs 3 times, and another work going 5. He's making his first start since January. Some people could be concerned with the layoff, but this horse seems fit and fresh. So I think there's some value there because of what Practical Move and Go Rocket Ride may kind of like do to each other, and almost like a foregone conclusion that they're going to run 1-2. I think this horse has a lot of upside. I watched all 4 of his races. Like I said, he's only won once. He's hit the board each time, but I just like how he appears in the morning, and I think he's set for a top effort. I like horses that are sitting on big races. Number 7 is Skinner. Victor Espinoza. I love the guy. A lot of respect for him. He's coming back on him. Deserves a lot of consideration. Son of Curling. Another $500,000 yearling. Also working well. Has some nice races over the surface. He's a contender. Belongs. That's the 7, Skinner. Rounding out the field, you got the Japanese horse. Now listen, I've had a lot of newfound respect for the Japanese connections because they've done a lot of damage, in big Grade 1 races over the last few years, Breeders' Cup and so on. Do I think this horse is ready to win a Grade 1 at Santa Anita and be a Kentucky Derby starter? I don't know. But, and I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't watch all the film on him. I did see some. 2 of his races were in the mud. He's been in 5 exactas. He won 4 out of 5. Japanese bred, big question mark. I'm not going to use him because he doesn't have that dynamic appearance about him. And finally, the 9 is Low Expectations. Rispoli is up for Antonio Garcia. Consistent gelding. He's won 2 races at Santa Anita. Again, but didn't see that killer instinct. And his race times are just a good level below most in this field. So my Santa Anita Derby is complete. All right? If you're taking some notes. And by the way, if you have questions, you ask the questions, we give you the answers. All right? So if you're watching this video and you have any question regarding any one of these 3 races, a comment, a question, we always appreciate it. And I'm also going to put in the comments, I can't go over it on tape here, some horses I really like on the undercard, okay, especially at Keeneland. All right? So Santa Anita, the Santa Anita Derby, race 6, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. The Geo Sette precise order of finish is 6, National Treasure, 7, Skinner, 5, the favorite, Practical Move, 1, I don't get it, and 8 for some Japanese respect. All right, Santa Anita Derby, 6, 7, 5, 1, 8. My exacta paid pretty well if I slam it. Listen, Practical Move could win the race. There's something about this race, and I feel confident about Johnny V on National Treasure. I like thoroughbreds, especially 3-year-olds who are sitting on a big race. And I feel it with National Treasure. All right, that is the Santa Anita Derby. I'll be right back. We're going to go over the Wood Memorial, and then we'll be all set for a Super Saturday. Be right back.
Florida Derby. After 3 quarters in 112-1, Known Agenda is now on to take over the lead. It's Known Agenda for St. Elias Stable. Florida Derby winner, Known Agenda.
Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Okay, Geo Sette, past the wire, back at you. Now we're all set for the Grade 2 $750,000 Wood Memorial at Aqueduct. This is a race I have personally attended, no kidding aside, probably about 25 times in my lifetime. Because I was a Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn guy. Aqueduct was just stone's throw away. We used to get to the track in, 15, 16 minutes. And this was the biggest day. So I'm familiar with Aqueduct, even though it's changed so much over the years. Everything down from the hot dogs to the clam chowder to the crowd. It's not the same over there. And thank God I live in the Jersey Shore because I don't go to Aqueduct very often. But I do know New York racing very, very well. And you'll get a lot of that from Saratoga later on this year from me. All right, so race 11. Of course, 9 furlongs, Grade 2, Wood Memorial. The winner's going to be running in the Kentucky Derby, maybe even the top 2 finishes. I got a couple surprises for you in this race. So I'm getting ready to run it down for you. This is a 6:16 likely post time Eastern time. So this will be the finale of the big 3 races on Saturday, and then all the preps will be in the book. All right, and this, by the way, is a big 13-horse field, but don't get too excited. There's a lot of horses who, to me, were automatic throwouts. I need some water. Hold on. All right, without further ado, the one, Dreamlike. You know what? I'll start with him because he's my top choice. Jose Ortiz stays in New York for Todd Pletcher. Believe it or not, the horse is still a maiden. But a world of talent. Beautiful looking colt, son of Gunrunner, $975,000 yearling. Talking about being ambitiously entered. The horse just missed 2 good tries at Gulfstream Park, maiden special weights. He ran second each time. So you know what they're doing now? Stretching him out some more, putting blinkers on him. And you know what? Gunrunner was a beast. And this horse has the look of a horse that's ready to strike and strike big. His bias was very phenomenal, an 87 and a 91. When I watched his second, I actually thought he ran faster than a 91. I think he's ready to run a triple-digit buyer. All right, so this is Dreamlike. He's the one. Do I have to say anything else about him? Training, okay. His works aren't entirely lightning fast, but I think this horse is built for the distance. I think he's going to be tactical. I think he's going to be sitting 3rd or 4th. And he's going to have he's going to be full of run when he turns for home. The 2, Shadow Dragon. I like Eric Consell, who's taking a mount. He's got guts. $375,000 yearling, son of Army Mule. Very nice Holy Bull race. And then he regressed a little in the Fountain of Youth. But Bill Mott, I've seen him over the years. He has a horse that has forward expectations. For whatever reason, didn't run well. Come back and they reversed the fortune. So I'm not saying he's a win contender, but I wouldn't dismiss number 2, Shadow Dragon. all right, entirely. Definitely to be considered in your deeper gimmicks. The 3 is Knox. I'll keep it short and sweet with him. Too slow. Safi Joseph Jr. stretching out. The horse could easily be 60, 70, 80 to 1. It would be a shocker if this horse won. The 4, General Banker. A world of experience. Likes to collect checks. 6 consecutive board hitting. 2 seconds, a win, and 3/3. 5 of them at Aqueduct. He's a state bred, but had many, many chances. And again, when you have that many chances and you have that killer instinct, somebody like myself, my trained eyes, I'm going to recognize that. And when a horse doesn't do that for me, I can't be confident about him. I do like Frankie Pennington, who's on him for the second time. Works hard, tries hard every time, but not for me. The 5 is interesting. Slip Mahoney. Brad Cox is bringing him in. Nice looking gray. He's by Arrogate. Arrogate was a beast, also built for the distance. His last in the mud, he made up a ton of ground, was a slow starter. I don't think he's run his best race yet. I trust Dylan Davis. He knows the oval at Aqueduct really, really well. Contender, for sure. He's not my top choice, but I wouldn't throw him out entirely. He's going to hit the board, maybe. Remember, this race has, to me, 3 main contenders, and everybody else is sort of interchangeable. But you want to have a horse that's going to be sitting on an improved race. Clear the Year, as I spoke about. Thank God he's not running here because he had Heeman Harkey on him. That's one rider I just basically, I never have confidence in. So Clear the Year is probably going to scratch. That's the 6. The 7 was intriguing. New York bred for Linda Rice, Jose Lascano in the Silks. Very consistent son of Frosted. And when you see that kind of consistency, and you watch horses like this on film, a lot of horses, because they're creatures of habit, they show the same type of move and aggressiveness habitually. And that's what I saw in this horse. Very, very tactical, nice speed. And when you have speed like that, you're a contender. I feel he can make the distance. He's by Frosted. Frosted had a wonderful 3-year-old campaign. He's been a good sire. And he's he's a built gray. So he's a contender. Don't throw him out entirely. That's the 7. I think I have him listed 5th. The 8 next is Lord Miles. Very interesting horse because he's the son of Curlin. First time he's racing out of Florida. He got buried on the rail the last 2 races. I think the horse is going to be much more comfortable as he was with an outside post. Finally getting him out of Florida. He won his debut convincingly. Showed improvement in the Macho Man, where they ran him in a stake right after his maiden win. But he's underperformed. This is the type of horse, and Paco Lopez is up on him, by the way, second time. He's not done running his best, so there's a lot of upside in this colt. A lot of upside. So I'm going to use him at a big price in my triples and my supers. Number 9, Croupy, is from the Pletcher Barn. Kenrick Carmouche, who runs at Aqueduct and rides very aggressively there. Not a bad horse. Thought it took him a little too long to break his maiden. Trying to remember what I saw in film on him. If there's a hot pace, I think this horse will be coming in the stretch. Again, an exotic filler late. The 10 is Uncle Jake. Brittany Russell, horse one is broke his maiden at Laurel, has a nice work for the race. Son of Uncle Mo, hence the Uncle Jake name. But, talent is there. I think there's too much to ask for this horse to win from the 10-hole, the Wood Memorial. The 11 is Classic Catch. Second from the Pletcher Barn. This horse is stepping up, but he's made for the distance. He's already made the distance and won twice. He's got 2 solid races over the surface at Aqueduct. The son of Classic Empire. I trust Trevor McCartney. I don't know if Pletcher is very high on him, but put him in the Wood Memorial, so he's a threat. That's the 11, Classic Catch. The 12 is Mr. Swagger. I'll be short and sweet with him. The trainer did some good work over in Florida, but for him to come to New York and be a contender here, I wasn't impressed with the Gotham. I tried to make an excuse for him. He was bumped around a little, but again, when horses get bumped around and they respond negatively and they stop running, what does that tell you? Again, they don't have that tenacity, that willingness, that gameness that you want to see. And of course, the bottom horse is Hit Show. Now, Hit Show for Brad Cox, he drew the 13 post. Horse is probably going to be the favorite in the race. By Candy Ride, nice looking gray, 3 for 4 lifetime. Comes into the race with a couple of nice breezes. It's a post that's imposing, but the field is not very dynamic inside of this colt. So a demanding post, but won over the Aqueduct soil. His only race. It was the Grade 3 Withers. If you watched the race, the horse had a lot of run in him. But playing the 13 horse at 2-1, 6-5, 7-5 even, I don't know. Could win, but he's not going to be my top choice. So without further ado, I'm going to give you my precise order of finish for Race 11 Aqueduct, the Grade 2, $750,000 Wood Memorial. Top choice is Dreamlike, the number 1. Talked a lot about him, the son of Gunrunner for Todd Pletcher. Jose Ortiz sitting on a big race, runs him down in a stretch, and you may even get $8 to $10 for this horse. Remember, he's a maiden, and he's going for Grade 2 Wood Memorial. And a win puts him in a Kentucky Derby. The only negative, he didn't run as a juvenile. And I have a big rule for myself. I know Justify changed that a bit, but my Derby horses have to run as a 2-year-old. So this horse is going to have his challenges in the Kentucky Derby, but he's training well. He could beat this field. So the 1, Dreamlike, then all the way down to the 11, Classic Catch from the Pletcher Barn. So this is a Todd Pletcher Exacta. 111. Then 13, Hit Show, who could win. So for those of you that like the box and you want to cover, you could do that. But I'm doing 111, 13. Then my horses that I feel are contenders to fill your triples and or superfectas are the 8. Hold on. Lord Miles, you know what I said about him? He could be sitting on a better race. He hasn't shown his best yet. The 7, Arctic Arrogance, the New York bred I spoke about, who's very consistent. And then evenly, the 2, Shadow Dragon, and the 5, who's the 5? Slip Mahoney. So if I didn't mention the horse, I would stay away. And you could jot that down. Geo Sette said, if he didn't mention the horse, stay away. But here's my precise order. 1, 11, 13, 8, 7, 2, and 5. Of course, the 8, 7, 2, and 5 are more for your deeper gimmicks. If you're going to play multi-race wagering, I would use the 1, 11, and 13. And why not go for that Pletcher exacta? It could happen. And if the 13 wins, he wins. He's a good horse. He's training well, but that's a very demanding post. And I like the 1 a lot more than the 13 in this race. All right. I'm tired. It's been a long night. Enjoy your Saturday. Questions, ask them in the comments. Comments, we appreciate them. Make a lot of money. If you want something from the undercard, I have something all 3 days, but particularly at Keeneland, the undercard of the Bluegrass. And let's make some money. And in 1 month, it's Kentucky Derby. Where are you going to get the best information for the Kentucky Derby? Past the Wire TV, pastthewire.com. Yours truly, Geo Sette. You could reach out to John Stetton anytime. I'm sure he'll be delighted to share some additional information. Don't forget about the seminar that we're going to have for you. You should be, if you're into this sport and you want to make money, every single day or every other day, especially on your days that you're betting, visit Past the Wire and take it all in. All right? Thanks for listening. I'm out of here.
Nobody does it better.